Jai Hind students, I hope you all are doing well. Today we will be starting with the first chapter in the second session, which is there in the second session, and the chapter is Town Traders and Craftsperson. So before starting this chapter, I would like you to know what is the basic objective behind this chapter. In this chapter, we'll be dealing with towns and how these towns became important because of the various things which were done here, like the crafts or the traders who used to do some business and so on. So, how these towns became important is basically dealt in this chapter. So, let us start. Now, we understand that towns become important because of various things which happen inside it, like somewhere administrative centers, somewhere towns which had big temples, and they were also the centers where commercial activities and crafts production were done. So these things made a town, particular town, very important. This is a map which is given in your book and which deals about some important centers of trade and artist productions were there in central and south India. We will be dealing with this in the live class. Now let us understand how some places became administrative centers. Now if we talk about a place which is called as Tanjavur. Now we have already read about the Chola dynasty in the previous chapter number 2 we had dealt. Now we will do here about a place, we will talk about a place known as Tanjavur. Now this was the capital of the Cholas, and as it was 1,000 years back. Now it has been mentioned that a perennial river called Kaveri used to flow near this beautiful town, and one could hear the bell of the famous Raja Rajeshwara temple, which was built by King Raja Raja Chola. Now the townspeople were always in praise for the basic architect who was Raja Raja Peruthajan, who had carved his name on the temple wall. Now inside there was a massive shivling, and I hope you know what is a shivling. Now beside the temple there were palaces with mandaps. Now what is a mandap? This is a mandap is a place where the king used to hold court, and they used to issue order to the subordinates or the juniors. And there were also barracks which were there for the army. And then it is mentioned that the town was bustling, or it was busy with the markets which was selling grain, spices, cloth and so on. Now talking about the water supply which used to come to this town from the wells and the tanks. There is a mention of the weavers, the Salia weavers of Tanjavur, and the nearby towns of Uraiyur, which used to produce cloth which was used for the flag in the temple festival. Now two varieties were there. One was fine cotton, which was for the king and the nobles, and there was a coarse cotton which is rough in texture, which was for the general masses. And then at some distance away there was a sthapits, or you can say it was called as Swami Malai, or the sculptures which used to make beautiful bronze idols which were tall, and ornamental bells and metal lamps. So this all has been mentioned in your book also. The next topic which is there is temple town and the pilgrimage centers. Now these are towns where there was a temple and people used to visit. Now Tanjavur was also an example which was also a temple town because of the temple there. Now the temple towns represent a very important pattern of urbanization, the process by which cities develop. Okay. Now temples were often central to the economy and the society. Why? Because rulers used to build temples to demonstrate their devotion, or they used to demonstrate their power to various deities. Deities means God. They also endowed these temples with grants, or they used to give money and land to carry out elaborate rituals which were being done, or they used to feed the pilgrims who used to come, and the priest, and they celebrated various festivals. The people who came, or the pilgrims who came and visited these temples, they also made huge donations. There is a picture, or there is a picture which is there in your book. This is a bronze statue of Krishna, and who is subduing a serpent called as Kalya. This is also mentioned in your book. Now, talking about things which were happening there, the temple authorities used their wealth to finance trade and banking. Gradually, a large number of priests, then workers, traders, they all settled near the temple to cater to the needs of these people who used to visit, that is the pilgrims. Because when the pilgrims came, their needs had to be satisfied. So, number of priests, artists, workers who used to cater to these needs, they came and settled in these places. Thus, these towns started to develop or grew. Towns emerged around temples such as those of Bhilavasim, you can see it is mentioned in the book, and Somnath, which is there in Gujarat. Other important temples or temple towns included Kanchipuram and Madurai in Tamil Nadu and Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. Now, basically, these were those towns which developed because of a particular temple which was situated there. Then pilgrimage centers also slowly developed into townships. Vrindavan in Uttar Pradesh, and then there is Tiruvallamai in and Tamil Nadu are examples of two such towns. Ajmer in Rajasthan was also the capital of the Chauhan kings in the 12th century, and later they became a Suba headquarters under the Mughals. This provided an excellent examples of religious coexistence. Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti, the celebrated Sufi saint who settled in there in the 12th century, attracted devotees from all the religions or creeds. Near Ajmer is a lake, Pushkar, which has always attracted pilgrims from ancient times, and this still happens today. In the next module, we'll be dealing with a network of small towns. We will be discussing about this in the live class. Till then, thank you.